What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel, ABC Nate Reacts. I'm Nate, and for today's video, this is going to be an exciting one because it's actually something that actually is really close to where I actually live. The video is actually titled The FEMA of Texas HEB, the grocery store. That's actually the grocery store that's actually primarily all around, when I used to live in Austin and all the different cities growing up. I did go to different, I did at times the cities that I lived in had Randall's. Obviously, we have our super Walmarts that have the grocery section, Targets that have the grocery sections, but HEB is the current major grocery store that we have here. I know in some locations there's Safeway, Kroger. So this is what I'm very excited about. But for those of you guys that are new, welcome. And like I always like to say, pull up a chair and let's start watching this together.
All right, for those of you that don't know, the first video I ever made on the internet was
right,
about
let's
Aldi,
go.
my favorite grocery store. Well, they've been dethroned.
Really?
Today we're talking about HEB. It is a grocery store that pretty much only exists inside of the state of Texas. Everybody thinks HEB stands for Here Everything's Better, but it actually stands for Howard Edward Butt.
Yep.
Despite operating in only one state, it is the 5th largest privately owned company in the entire United States, generating tens of billions of dollars in revenue, and it is affectionately dubbed the FEMA of Texas. I have some HEB experience. I've been to the grocery store multiple times. There's nothing overwhelmingly special about it from an outsider looking in. You go in, it's a nice grocery store. It's big, it's cool. They have good food, but they don't appear to be doing anything different than any other major chain grocery store. And then I found out on my last trip to Texas, they are, in fact, way different. About 30 minutes from where we film our podcast is Kerr County, Texas. They were hit with massive flash flooding. It destroyed homes, buildings, infrastructure. It wiped out an entire fire station. People were hurt. People were killed. It was a complete disaster and very unfortunate situation. Clint Sanders, the guy that runs Bunker Branding, my merchandise company, and his wife Jenna are both from Kerr County. They grew up there their entire lives. So as soon as that disaster hit, they were using Bunker Branding in its warehouse as a point to gather up a bunch of supplies, and then they were shuttling them into Kerr County to whoever needed them. So while I was down there, me and the guys over at the Unsubscribed podcast took a day and we grabbed our trucks and we were helping them move all these supplies into Kerr County.
Good on you.
And when I got there, HEB was there. And when I say HEB was there, I don't mean they sent a truck full of supplies and were handing it out to people. No, they had an entire disaster relief operation.
You know what? I know that I've known that HEB has done some type of stuff like this, where they helped out with disasters. But I didn't know that they sent a huge convoy like this. Holy shit. That's amazing.
On par with FEMA or the National Guard up and running the entire time. They had semi-trucks that were specially kitted out to be mobile kitchens, cooking thousands of hot meals and giving them out to people. They had tons of food, tons of water. They had places for people to charge their cell phones. They had places for people to shower. They had a mobile pharmacy handing out medication. It was a full-on professional disaster relief effort by a fucking grocery store. It was overwhelmingly obvious this was not something that HEB threw together on a whim. This was like a professional team with professional equipment doing this job, and it's ran by a grocery store. So naturally, I had some questions. So I started asking the people around, and that's when I find out that, they all love HEB. They're literally nicknamed the FEMA of Texas, and HEB responds to natural disasters in Texas and the surrounding area, usually faster than the United States government does. And that's great. That's awesome. They're doing fantastic things, but my business brain is like, how in the fuck is that possible? Because I know that grocery stores are one of the most cutthroat, razor-thin margin industries that you could possibly operate in. Hy-Vee, for example, which is like the major chain grocery store in the Midwest, operates on a 1% profit margin. For every dollar they sell, they make 1 penny. So how on earth is HEB making so much money selling groceries?
Yeah, that's interesting because they don't have a concept like Costco does, and maybe I might react to one on a Costco where Costco doesn't. They have very little or no margins because they make all their profit on the membership. And I believe it was actually from this guy. I can do that video. If you guys would like me to do that video, let me know in the comment section below.
That they're able to basically fund their own version of FEMA and do all this charity work. Clearly, they're doing something different than everybody else, and I was determined to figure out what it was. So Let's take it from the top. All right, our story begins in the early 1900s with the parents of HEB, Howard Edward Butt, Charles, and Florence. Originally, the family was living in Memphis, Tennessee, and Charles was a pharmacist, and then at some point he developed tuberculosis, so they decided they were going to move the family down to Kerrville, Texas, hoping that the drier climate would help with this condition. And Charles, with tuberculosis, was no longer able to work as a pharmacist, so Florence decided to step up, and she decided she was going to support the family by opening a grocery store on the first level of their two-story house. They were going to live upstairs. They were going to run the grocery store on the first floor. And that opened in 1900.
Wow,
they were going to live
crazy to know that that is actually how it started. In the early 1900s.
Upstairs, they were going to run the grocery store on the first floor. And that opened in 1905. Now, in the early 1900s, grocery stores were a lot different than they are today, right? People didn't have...
Okay. Side note, I need to upgrade my office to look like this. This is dope as fuck. And I like this duck too.
Cars usually, so people couldn't come by and pick up a bunch of groceries and drive them home. So grocery stores usually functioned as you would either call in or you would go in, you'd place an order, the people working at the grocery store would assemble your order, and then they would deliver it to your house for you. And that is what their three sons, Charles, Howard, and Edward, all did at a very young age, literally going around town delivering groceries out of a baby carriage and a little red wagon. It was just like, dad's out, the entire family is stepping up to make this thing work. This goes on pretty much their entire childhood. They grow up, all the boys go off to fight in war. They come back from World War I, and one of their three sons, Howard, takes over the grocery store and retires his mother, Florence. So Howard's running the show now, and by 1922, he has a stroke of genius. He sees the writing on the wall. Automobiles are becoming more and more prevalent, and hey, people would probably be willing to come pick up their own groceries and pick them out themselves. So he changes the entire function of the grocery store and is really one of the early adopters of what is a modern grocery store. He changes the name of the grocery store to CC Butt Grocery, CC standing for cash and carry, telling the audience, hey, you bring in cash, you carry your shit out, you fuck off. We're not going to deliver groceries anymore. And this is genius because in exchange for that, he's saving time, money, and labor by not having to pick out all the groceries and not having to pay a
That's smart.
delivery guy. Saving time, money, and labor by not having to pick out all the groceries and not having to pay a delivery guy to go take the groceries to your house, so he can offer the groceries cheaper than anybody else is able to, so his grocery store becomes very popular in the surrounding community. And on top of that, the way the old grocery store functioned, they didn't have debit cards and like writing checks and stuff, so when you were, calling into an old grocery store, placing your order and having it delivered to your house, they would just send you a bill at the end of the month, which, as bills work, sometimes people don't pay them or they order shit and then they can't afford it later. So a lot of the time when you were running these old grocery stores, you just wouldn't get paid on time or you wouldn't get paid at all. But now
Wow, so they basically, just like the grocery stores used to be ran like subscription-based services, like our cell phone you use, you consume, and then they send you the bill. Wow, there were some trustworthy people then, or hopes that there were some trustworthy people then.
customer is paying when they pick up the groceries, so he doesn't have to worry about going out and collecting debt anymore either.
Right.
So it's just a better business model all around, and he's one of the first people to ever do it. From here, business is going great. He's well established in his local community. Everybody loves him, so he decides he's going to expand and open up more grocery stores, and unfortunately, it fails tremendously because he has no name brand. He opens up 4 different grocery stores. All 4 of them fail.
Unexpected problems? Good.
The way of life.
The opportunity to figure out a solution.
And because this guy's a business genius, he realizes it's not.
In order to fail, you have to prevail.
To figure out a solution.
And because this guy's a business genius, he realizes it's not his company, it's not the way he does things, it's not the way he runs things. He just doesn't have the right marketing. He doesn't have the name brand. The name brand at this point in time is Piggly Wiggly. And lucky for him, Piggly Wiggly is a franchise.
What?
So what he does is he actually buys the rights to use the name Piggly Wiggly in 3 separate locations, and he opens up 3 Piggly Wigglies, but he runs them the same way that he runs his grocery store, CC Butt Grocery. And they do great. So then he ends up buying out 3 more Piggly Wigglies that are already built, and he starts running them the same way. Then he opens up another one. And then once they're established and matured in the community and everybody knows how this new form of grocery store operates, then he changes the name over to CC Butt Grocery.
See more butts.
Gangster.
Who's see more butts?
Nobody see more butts than you, Uncle Tony.
It's like grocery store guerrilla warfare. It's fucking beautiful. By 1935, all the other grocery stores are doing the same thing he was originally doing, so that wasn't really special anymore. So he renames the grocery stores again from cash and carry because it's no longer needed. It's just obviously implied at this point. So he renames it H.E. Butt, Howard Edward Butt Grocery.
Bottom.
Hilarious.
I'm trying so hard not to make fun of their last name, but he keeps picking the worst possible names possible. C-Butt.
Right.
He-Butt. Just...
No, I did the same thing.
Always he.
But... So from here, Howard continues expanding. He's got the grocery business dialed in. He knows how to run a successful grocery store. So he's got two options. He can just keep expanding and keep doing what everybody else is doing, or he can keep innovating, and he chooses to keep innovating. All the other grocery stores at this point in time are basically just a middleman, right? They buy products from these big manufacturers, and then they mark them up and they sell them. They take their profit. They call it a day. But Howard decides he's going to be one of the first grocery stores to ever start vertically integrating. He's going to be one of the first.
Vertical integration is a business strategy where a company takes control of multiple stages of its production or distribution. But that's his thing. He created their own
product
brand
equivalent.
Yeah,
so he opens up a bakery. He opens up a canning facility. He starts making some of the products that he's going to sell inside of his stores. Now, this in itself isn't that revolutionary because other companies have done this before, but Howard takes it a step further, and what he ends up doing is he submits everything to blind taste testing against the big name brands. He doesn't want the H-E-B knockoff product to be a knockoff product. He wants it to be just as good, if not better. So his brand is actually...
And you know what? I've actually tried the H-E-B brand. I think is it called Hill Country Fare? I think it's called Hill Country Fare, and it's actually pretty good.
Premium, and he's still able to sell it cheaper. This obviously works out great, so he just keeps expanding, opening more grocery stores, more vertically integrated things. He's running his own warehouse.
A lot of times what people don't know is, and this goes to anything, cars, phones, whatever, is a lot of the price is just for the name. So he did it smart.
Everything. And then in the 1930s, one of his warehouses gets wiped out by a hurricane. And unlike everybody else affected by this hurricane, Howard decides he's going to keep his grocery stores open, and he's actually going to get involved with the disaster relief, starting the company tradition of helping with natural disasters inside of Texas. Fast forward to World War II, Howard is now basically a major food manufacturer as well, so he uses his canning facilities and bakeries and everything else to help with the war effort, getting food to the front lines. Then World War II ends, Howard renames the company from H.E. Butt to just what we know today as H-E-B, and he becomes one of the first grocery stores to invest in a frozen food section. And this is one of those things that doesn't seem like a big deal. It seems like something fairly obvious, but...
Okay, just hearing frozen food makes me very hungry, and I wish I had a frozen lasagna right now. That or a frozen pizza.
Right at the end of World War II was when mass refrigeration really started to come out. People started to have freezers in their homes. So being one of the only places where you could go and buy a tub of ice cream and bring it back home was a humongous fucking deal.
When the fuck did we get ice cream?
I cannot stress to you enough how insanely popular ice cream was in the years leading up to, during, and right after World War II. It's one of those things that kind of flies under the radar, but have you ever noticed with like senior citizens today that there's a humongous ice cream culture? Like they all love having ice cream with dinner. They all had like ice cream socials back in the day. It's all because of history, right? Because during Prohibition in the 1930s, all these bars basically woke up one morning and the government said, hey, guess what? You can't sell booze anymore, which is the only product that you were selling. So bars all over the country overnight basically had to turn themselves into soda shops and ice cream parlors. And those soda shops and ice cream parlors are what filled the social void that bars left behind. So ice cream became incredibly popular. And now one of the only places that you can go buy it in bulk in the entire United States is a grocery store in Texas called H-E-B.
Oh, there it is. Oh, I was wondering if they were going to show it. Yeah, my kind of like right now go-to ice cream, it's been for a very long time since I was young, is Bluebell. Bluebell hits hard. And I wonder, is that a homemade vanilla? Yep, homemade vanilla. And you know what? I'm can't wait till this video is done because I can't wait to get my ice cream out of the fridge. I actually have this time, it's a combination. It's called The Great Divide. It's Dutch chocolate and homemade vanilla. But I also like pistachio almond and some other ones. But what is y'all's favorite ice cream? Is it Bluebell, or what is your favorite brand, and then what is your favorite type of ice cream that you like? Let me know down below.
From here, he continues to dominate the Texas market, expanding like wildfire. He tries to go out into other states, but after a couple of years, they close those grocery stores down and decide they're just going to stay inside of the state of Texas. They decide rather than expanding H-E-B all over the country, they're just going to completely dominate the grocery industry at every level inside of their home state. And what I mean by that is everybody knows when it comes to grocery stores, you've kind of got your tiers of grocery stores, right? You've got your like lower income budget grocery stores where there's a lot of off-brand products, but everything significantly cheaper. Then you've got your like legitimate grocery stores, which is kind of like what H-E-B or Hy-Vee or Safeway is. And then you've got your big department stores like Walmart that sell a bunch of shit and groceries. H-E-B is like, fuck it, we're going to be all three all over the entire state of Texas. So they open up H-E-B Plus, which is like a Walmart type store. Then they have their normal H-E-B.
Oh my gosh, I almost went to H-E-B today before this, but I got too lazy.
And they have Jovi's Smart Shop, which is their discount low-income grocery store. And then they have H-E-B Central Market, which is like your
Central Market. Hold on, hold on.
Low-income grocery store. And then
Central Market hits hard. They have their bistro inside. Oh, I wish I could have one of those steak salads. That's really good. But no, Central Market, that's where they kind of like, a lot of things are more premium. They do more like farm to market type of stuff. I wonder if he's going to mention that.
They have H-E-B Central Market, which is like your upscale farmer's market, fancy, bougie grocery store. So they're selling groceries to absolutely everybody. And this is absolutely genius because when you start running a business across state lines, all the rules change, right? Now, if you're operating in 50 states, that's 50 states with 50 different laws, and you've got to transport the equipment from your factory in Texas all the way up to Rhode Island, and it just turns into one gigantic fucking headache, and you're hiring 200, 300, 500, 1,000 people just to know all the rules and regulations for every single state. H-E-B is like, fuck this, we're just gonna own the entire state of Texas. And you know what? It works because Texas is fucking enormous. It's basically its own country inside of the United States. And you're like, oh, fat electrician, chubby electrician guys, fucking exaggerating. No, I'm not, okay? Ukraine is the biggest country in Europe. It's almost the size of Texas. So just by dominating one singular state, Texas in the United States, they can be one of the biggest grocery providers in the world because Texas is so fucking big. Now, by the 60s, 70s, Howard is getting up there in age. It's time to retire, time to let everything go. So he achieves the real American dream of building an enormous company and then taking it public, cashing out, making millions and millions of dollars so he can go fuck off and do whatever for the rest of his life. No, I'm just kidding. He achieves the real American dream of building something incredible and then handing it off to his sons and letting them take over the reins so he can sit back, relax, and watch his sons continue to kick ass for the rest of his life. And that's exactly what they do. They continue vertically integrating the company. H-E-B now owns the biggest milk processing plant in the state of Texas. They own an ice cream factory. They own multiple manufacturing facilities. They own over 400 grocery stores all over the state of Texas, and they have that entire community.
That's it? It's only 400? It seems like a lot though.
On fucking lock. They are literally a grocery store chain that operates in one of 50 states, and somehow they are the 5th largest privately owned company in the country, bringing in over $46 billion a year. So while the rest of the competition is going out here hiring guys with business degrees,
$46 billion. Holy shit. I knew they were in the billions. I didn't know it was that much. Holy fuck.
Know what they're doing, aka cutting a bunch of corners to maximize profits, being very short-sighted about everything. His sons are out here building an empire that's gonna last forever. And you wanna know what they do with that empire? A bunch of good shit. It's legitimately a good place to work, according to every source that I could possibly find. Like Walmart, for example, their competition is in the lowest 35% of employee satisfaction and retention.
Well, yeah, because Walmart just hired old people or people straight out of high school?
Rate. H-E-B is in like the top 5%. 50% of H-E-B employees said they would not take another job in a similar field if they offered them more money. Technically now the Butt family only owns 90% of H-E-B. The other 10% they gave to the employees. So every year, every employee, even the part-time ones, if they work 1,000 hours, gets a bonus check at the end of the year for whatever their cut of the corporate profits are. And on top of that, they do a ton of charity work. They donate millions of dollars a year, not just to disaster relief, but to education education funds. They donate back into their communities, back into the employees themselves, and they're well known for being one of the biggest retail chains to give small companies a chance. They're well known for letting small companies that are either owned or started up by disenfranchised people, or founded in Texas, or founded by veterans to get inside their stores probably sooner than they should, to help those companies have a chance at competing in the marketplace, which is, you know, a great plug, because I know of an energy drink company founded by a bunch of veterans.
Yeah, maybe you gotta move. Maybe you gotta move to Texas. But I'll try that.
That would look pretty good inside of HEB.
Hurry up and get it. Hurry up and get an HEB.
Shameless plug.
Yes, and it's the choice of a new generation.
Don't judge me, okay? I gotta shoot my shot, all right? We've got Echelon inside of pretty much every PX and every military base in the country. It would look really good inside of every HEB in Texas, too. Sorry, anyways, this brings us back to the disaster relief thing. They've been providing disaster relief to pretty much every natural disaster to hit Texas and the surrounding area since the 1930s, and they did way more than I even saw on the ground over in Kern County. HEB has a full-time disaster relief team. They're literally running their own miniature version of FEMA that somehow responds faster than FEMA. On their HEB website, they have...
Just wait till like they're somewhere in like the east or the west coast or somewhere other than Texas, and they probably need to send HEB up there.
Advice, tips, tricks, weather tracking to help people know how to survive a natural disaster. And then when the natural disasters do hit, they mobilize massive convoys to go in with mobile kitchens, showers, cell phone charging, food, clothes, medicine, absolutely everything you could want. HEB is on the way to get it to you. And then they donate millions and millions of dollars back into that community to help with the reconstruction. Now, we don't know what the totals are for Kern County, Texas, because that disaster is still kind of unfolding and just now getting addressed. But in 2017, with Hurricane Harvey, they donated $6 million towards reconstruction, had 60,000 hot meals distributed, and 150,000 cases of water, which raises...
All right. All I can say to that is absolutely incredible. Good on you, HEB.
1,000 hot meals distributed and 150,000 cases of water. Which raises the question, how in the fuck are they able to do this? Because like I said, grocery stores are the most cutthroat, razor-thin margins that you can imagine. Literally like a 1% profit margin on product. How do they have tens of millions of dollars to donate back into these communities and then have a full-time emergency response team on hand whose entire job is to track the weather and respond to natural disasters for their community? I, for the life of me, could not figure out how they had the money to do this. So I dug and I dug and I dug.
I wonder if they do it like, or whatever, I mean, if they do even have a profit margin, if they do it kind of like what Mr. Beast does with his videos. Any money that he makes, he puts them back into his videos, and that's how he became and earned his growth. But I wonder if HEB's done that, is they basically take whatever profit they've done or earned and they put it back towards like disaster relief and employees and all that good sort.
And I finally figured it out.
What is it?
And it's fucking genius. The way HEB is managing to make so much money, I believe, is because they're not just a grocery store that's vertically integrated, making a bunch of their own products. They're also a real estate developer. Somewhere along the line, HEB realized that going to the grocery store is, you know, you running errands. And you know what makes running errands really convenient is if all your errands are in the same place or even the same parking lot. So what HEB noticed...
Yes, because we all have to like, kind of, when we have to do errands, we kind of typically, at least with me, I typically coordinate different things, you know, instead of going back and forth. Are you guys that type of person? Let me know down below. But yeah.
Is whenever they throw up a grocery store, people were coming to their grocery store because people got to buy groceries, right? So then other businesses would buy up all the lots next to them and throw up their company and basically use that as the excuse of like, okay, well, I'm going to get more business now because people are going to come buy groceries, and then I'm right next to where the groceries are, so they're just going to pick me out of convenience. So HEB, realizing this, said, you know what, fuck it. When I'm going to open up a grocery store, I'm going to buy 10 times more land than I need, and I'm going to develop the entire area.
Wait, is that... Hold on. Is that why? I've always wondered why I always saw... I just thought it was just a coincidence, or maybe HEB just had some type of partnership with them. But every time I always seen a new HEB popped up, typically if there is one, there would always be our liquor store, the popular liquor store, Twin Liquors, next to it. But this is why? Because they actually do real estate development? That is smart.
not just going to build a grocery store, we're going to build the strip mall attached to it, right?
Yes.
So you're going to come into our one gigantic parking lot where there's H-E-B and then there's 20 other stores on each side, and we're going to
wait, hold on. Wait a second. Wait, I know this. Holy shit. This is where I moved from. This is Austin. I used to live 5 freaking minutes from this H-E-B. This would be the gas station that I'd go to. Now, this is one of the smaller H-E-Bs. Now, there was another one that was probably like, took me like 10, 15 minutes to drive, but because I'm just lazy AF, this is just where I used to go. There's like an Indian restaurant here, Middle East restaurant here that's always packed. Oh, that's crazy. Out of all the pictures that he could have picked, he picked the one where and then this is Apple, and then this is a street called Palmer Lane. I know exactly where that is. That is crazy.
Parking lot where there's H-E-B and then there's 20 other stores on each side, and we're going to build those buildings, and then we're either going to sell them or we're going to lease them out to those companies because we're increasing that property value just by existing there, and we're going to make a bunch of money when we do it.
You smell that? What is that? A cologne? No.
Opportunity.
No. Money.
Okay, it's literally like a great white shark leasing out the space on its belly to those little sucker fish that eat all the shit that the sharks don't end up eating, right? It's absolutely brilliant. It's literally the field of dreams strategy. If you build it, they will come, and H-E-B figured, fuck it, I'm gonna build it for them too, and then they can just rent it from me. And the entire thing just feeds into itself because guess what? If you got one of those 20 stores in the strip mall connected that you're leasing out to, and somebody has to run errands at that strip mall, guess where they're buying groceries at now? H-E-B, at a convenience. So they're both feeding off of each other, but H-E-B is benefiting off of all of it because they own the whole thing. So yeah, that's how they do it. It's one of the most genius business models I've ever seen, and what's even cooler is they take a bunch of that money that they make off of this brilliant business model and do good in their community, literally becoming the FEMA of Texas. So yeah, the moral of the story is don't sell out. The American dream is not to build a company that's worth $1 billion, sell it to the open market, and then make $1 billion, fuck off and buy a Lamborghini for the rest of your life. No, the real American dream is to build something, make $1 billion along the way, and then hand it down to your kids and let them continue kicking ass and let them go out in the world and do good things, which is exactly what H-E-B did. The world would be a significantly better place if more companies acted and operated like H-E-B does. Imagine if Walmart or Target or any of these other major retail stores did exactly what H-E-B does. They could do it. There's no reason Walmart shouldn't have a convoy for disaster relief going in and helping people out, but they sold out and they're subservient to a board of investors, and the only thing they give a fuck about is making more and more money, where H-E-B cares about making money, but they care about the people they're making money from, and they give back to them. And that's why H-E-B has its cult following that I didn't understand until I did the research for this video. It's because
actually another thing I don't think he's mentioned it yet. I haven't heard it yet, but out of the rideshare delivery services, it's probably not popular nationwide, but at least in some cities here in Texas, there's one called Favor, and Favor actually, I believe they're maybe direct employees of H-E-B, but I know they get H-E-B benefits. I know that for a fact because I actually did apply for Favor one time.
H-E-B isn't just some company coming in trying to make as much money as possible. H-E-B is legitimately a part of the Texas community and their culture and genuinely cares about the people that they serve. So in conclusion, I am in Texas an awful lot, and I am absolutely not sold on the notion that everything is bigger and better in Texas, but holy shit, the grocery stores sure are. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang.
Holy shit, guys. Just give me a minute while I get that all soaked in. That was an amazing video. Let me know what y'all think. Like I mentioned, you know, I wanted to do this when I found it because this is my grocery store. This is the grocery store that I've known for the last 40 years of my life living here in Texas, being on this planet Earth. I've been to other grocery stores. I've been to, obviously, Randall's. I've been to the Walmart, the grocery section. I've been to Target, been to their grocery section. You know, when I've been in other states, I've been to like Safeways and all that stuff. But no, this is my go-to grocery store. Normally, wherever I'm living, like I have one Like right now, where I'm living right now, I have one about 5-10 minutes away that I was literally about to go to tonight, but then I just got lazy and I knew I had to get this done for you guys. But yes, for any of you guys that live in Texas and have been to HEB in general, I would love to know that. Let me know down below. Or if you haven't been to HEB, what is y'all's go-to grocery store? And did you guys see a difference in what was just mentioned and what you guys have? And do you wish to come and check out HEB? But outside of that, guys, this has been the video. I hope you guys really did enjoy it. Like I mentioned, just y'all being here and y'all just clicking on that video, on this video, means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for doing that. If this is something that you like, please consider clicking that like button. But let me know what you want me to do for the actual next video. I might consider doing the Costco one, because I think he has a Costco one. But if that's something you want to do, let me know. But outside of that, I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.